Now that Mr. Governor Sanwoolu has dismissed the panel report as filled with spurious allegations and speculations, how disappointed are you?
I'm not disappointed. It's expected. Um, I mean, things that are highly predictable cannot be mysterious or cannot be shocking. The panel was not expected to arrive at the conclusion it has arrived. It arrived at. The panel was an aberration. The panel was unprecedented. Government in Nigeria generally don't feel accountable to people, and so they do not practice transparency, you know, and they feel they are above the law. The government or the state and the organs or agencies of the state to enable the government to carry out its work are supposed to fall in line. In this particular case, this particular panel did not fall in line, causing the government, whether state or national or federal, huge level of embarrassment because it was their own creation. So for Babajide Sanwoolu, it could not depart. I think I don't know where it was, or Medium I predicted. I said it was only trying to bully. That is, the federal government was trying to bully Lagos State, and they are in the same party. APC here, APC is there. They're likely to fall in line. And only this morning I read that federal government backs up Sanwoolu or Lagos State on the issue of the report. Quite predictable. I am not shocked. I'm not disappointed.
Let's look at some of the key highlights of the white paper, so to say. First, the findings of the judicial panel of inquiry that 9 people died at the Lekki toll gate from gunshots fired by the military were based on assumptions and speculations. How dismissive is that?
Well, you know, it's one is almost getting tired, reviewing the same position that is quite not tenable. Somebody starts somewhere because he's governor. So it's just talking. Based on what? Is based on what? These other people that said this happened, they listen to people. Testimonies were brought before them. Evidence were before them. They had the opportunity of comparing notes, not even just one person. But here Jide sat here, that's the governor, and say, oh, it's assumption, it's baseless. And at any rate, the white paper is coming from the governor's backyard. The head of the white paper, everybody that commissioner is government, particularly the attorney general. Attorney general is even a member of the Security Council of Lagos State. So it's a party. And what else do you want them to do? There's no basis for what you have said. These people have basis. I know by trying to even reduce the number to only one person, according to even by their own skilled thinking, if I can put it that way, that only one person, that's the Obafunwa person, that the Obafunwa identified person, as if evidence came only from Obafunwa. So you know, when you cannot cover, people say somebody is trying to hide behind one finger. It's as good as an ostrich putting his head in the sand and thinking that you could not see it, people cannot see it. So the more you are twisting, you are turning, you become the more embarrassing.
Now, let me get your view on this. Some lawyers or legal luminaries, so to speak, has also spoken in support of the panel report itself. The white paper, saying that the panel actually created the inconsistencies and contradictions. Do you agree with that?
When you say luminary, when I hear luminary in Nigeria, I shake my head. But what's the basis? Where there's a contradiction, what's the basis in their white paper? What is it that white paper itself is self-contradictory?
They are saying that the panel report itself had actually created those inconsistencies and those contradictions, thereby leading the white paper, I mean, giving the recommendations as being, unreliable, and it cannot be accepted.
Yeah.
They cited, for example,
Okay.
that the only victim of gunshot injury from the Lekki toll gate was picked up at 7:43 p.m. on the 21st October 2020 after the curfew commenced. Furthermore, there was no shred of evidence regarding who shot him.
Okay. Okay. Now, if that's the white paper
Exactly.
that you are quoting,
That's what.
that is even, first of all, it's laughable. When you say the first body was picked up 7:43 after the curfew had commenced, that's I don't want to. That's 7:43 curfew had not started. The very first thing, curfew had not started. Curfew started 9. You remember that if are you sure you are quoting the white paper? If it's the white paper, that's the white paper. It's 7:43. That's part of, you see what I was saying something about hiding under a finger. You become ludicrous and embarrassing because you just be making fool of yourself. The Lagos State government is making a fool of itself because he said the only body was picked at 7:43 when the curfew had started. When did the curfew start? He first fixed it at 4 p.m. and later shifted it to 9 p.m. From where did he get that evidence that that's the only body picked? I said that they could not say who shot him. Whereas you remember that the forensic expert engaged by this same lying Lagos State now, that same expert said in the records that he went through, medical records of victims of attack that he went through, some of them show that those kind of injuries they suffered could only come from military grade ammunitions. And so somebody is now saying that we don't even know who shot him. I only want who told whoever wrote this white paper. It's jaundiced. That is the way I can put it. And then when you talk about contradiction, I noticed that one of the conditions accepted by the Lagos State government is a form of commemoration or memorials.
Yeah. Getting to that.
Okay.
In the recommendation made by the judicial panel, the Lekki toll panel made a memorial site
Yes.
for the Endsars.
Yes.
That was the recommendation of the panel.
Yes.
By renaming it to Endsars toll gate.
Yes.
The Lagos State government said it would rather designate a park in the state and name it Peace Park.
Yes.
That was what the white people said.
Yes. Yes. I make it Peace Park in memory of what? Commemorating what? Do you commemorate the living? You only commemorate the dead. You understand? This is part of the contradictions. You see, somebody used a word yesterday. He was talking about schizophrenia. It's a kind of disease. You know, when you have a split personality, when you cannot actually accept reality. You know, when you are suffering from that kind of disease, it's actually a mental condition. We are living in a state of self-denial. Reality is staring you in the face like this. Here you begin to deny, you make outlandish statements, you take outlandish positions and postures. This is what is happening to the Lagos State government presently. So I do not know how they can get out of it. Let me put it this way. I don't know. As long as that government refuses to accept the truth of what happened and be saying that the truth cannot be known, it is. I've said it. A panel was set up. Out of 4 people affected who had conflicting situations, only 1 cared to come out. LCC, where this massacre took place, where this killing, call it whatever, tragedy took place, said we were not there. we are withdrawing our staff. The military who shot and interacted with the protesters refused to come. I'm talking of as eyewitnesses. They just brought somebody to come and be displaying PR expertise, which didn't work. Then the police too ran away. Now one side came, that's the Endsars people. They came and they gave cogent, credible, and persuasive evidence about what they saw, what they participated in. You are now saying the panel ought not to have believed them. The panel ought to have just discountenanced them. I don't think that is right, and I don't think that is proper.
Government, if the panel itself had actually told the line of the government, let's just look at it for.
Yes,
what will happen?
Thank you so much. One can easily project. You see, one can easily project. Normally, when you set up a panel is set up to achieve a particular purpose for the appointer. So the appointer here has a political objective to nullify the issue of massacre and to demonize the protest. Incidentally, unfortunately for them, fortunately for Nigeria, this panel turned out to be unique, exceptional, but in their view, an aberration. So the panel say, we have done our work. There is a massacre. That's why you're having all these wahala from government. But assuming that panel did as projected for it, things that you see is that Endsars protesters will be hunted, will be thrown to jail, trial without trial. The cases of their so-called funders will be brought up. The case there, you have charges of treason, charges of arson, and you find brilliant, I don't want to mention names, brilliant comrade lawyers who will now say, you see, all the things that happened in Port Harcourt, the warehouse that was liberated in Yenogwa, all this one that happened, prisoner was set free in Jos. All those ones were triggered off by the Endsars activities in Lagos, and so therefore they are connected and going to be prosecuted for it. These are the kind of brilliant lawyers in court who prosecuted Sanwoolu and ensured his death. That okay, it was because of the speech you are giving, the kind of rally you are doing, okay, that now, you know, kick-started the disturbances in Ogunlana, which led to the death of some people, and so you are responsible for it, fiam, and they were killed. That's what will have happened. And that is why this panel must be especially appreciated by Nigerians. They've saved a lot of innocent youths from jail, from unfair prosecution. You see, there are a lot of, to tell you how the Nigerian state work or does not work. In Lagos State alone, since our last year, about 300 people are in detention over post-Endsars crisis disturbances. Have they been prosecuted? The answer is no. There is this case of Ogunlana which I'm handling. If I tell you the honesty of this person, you know whether you want to laugh or you want to cry. Okay, so this person was one of the 300 people we are talking about. Ogunlana is still in prison now, even though it's been granted bail finally. We've gone to High Court twice, no bail. We did a petition against the legal advice of the DPP showing the loopholes why offenses like arson and rioting could not be sustained against him. The Minister of Justice agreed. That is the Office of the Attorney General. So all those offences were removed, leaving only a charge of disobedience to lawful orders. That is disobedience to curfew. You, they say you shouldn't go out, you went out. Well, at most a month or something. It's misdemeanor. But I spent 13 months. So we now went to the magistrate court. My lady, you can hear him now. You now have jurisdiction. My lady agreed. Prison no agree. There was no van. When prison eventually agreed, and my lady granted him bail, and he trying to perfect the bail for 1 month at most. When you are convicted, you are going to stay 1 month to that 3 months. So you've spent 30 months. Remember, I put that at the back of my mind. Say, go and bring 2 shorty tax carriers. Before we could all do that, they have brought the man to the High Court. When we were there to the High Court, my lord, you cannot arrange this person. Judge agreed with us because this is the new legal advice. You can't blame the judge. Judge look at prosecution. Prosecution says, "Oh, from the same office of DPP, we are not even aware. We'll go to investigate." A date was given, January 2022. Own law now. Now,
And it's in
so at the prison, where we show the reproduction and the release warrant by the magistrate, prison said, no, he has case at the High Court. Prison, he has not been arraigned. It's not High Court decided lecturing us. High Court is superior than magistrate court. You have taken him to court. Whether he was arraigned, whether he was not arraigned, the important thing is that there's a case at the High Court. This is the point we are. So I have to bring our application before the High Court again to abridge the time, and now to show that there's nothing for my lord to try again, because the information preferred against this gentleman was based on a legal advice recommending trial for arson and riot. Can you imagine all this process? Boy detained October 21, 2020. This is November, and there's a bail which you cannot enjoy. This is, and you are talking of even a particular person who has the support of his family, who could run around, and the community could run around for him. Imagine going to High Court for bail, for not treason, arson, not treason, arson. Not that bail was given and the conditions were hard. Bail was not even given at all by 2 High Court judges. Arson and riot. So and it's a policy. Just dump them there. Just dump them there. And that is why I'm saying that I just pity the people they call elite in this country. And then their lawyer intellectual angle. One sakabakaba. One saka. I don't know how to do that in English. But when you oppress people to a level, they must rise. All your values of conservatism and establishment, elitism will be burnt, because it is only natural for a human being to seek for justice and freedom and liberty and equity with other people. You can't alone be enjoying, and we are suffering. You are using powers on us. You used it on us for more than 30, 40, 50 years. That's going to be a breaking point. Like I said before, I've said it before, I'm not begging the federal government, I'm not begging the state government to accept that recommendation. Sociology of life will accept that recommendation. It's only if you are a decent and intelligent and responsible leader who believes in Benthamism, the greatest happiness for the greatest good of the people. Your policies, your laws, your conduct must obey that philosophy, so that you are guided by that philosophy. So when you are doing things, you are able to look like Samuel of the Bible. A court assembly of people will say, whoever have I cheated among you? Is there anybody that have taken what does to you? That is, in short, is there anybody that have used power on unfairly? That is the summary. That's accountability. But when you have state government, chairman of local government, local president, ministers, all those kind of people who are only interested in using power to their own benefit, who didn't see themselves as servant. Sanwoolu is not his excellency. He's the servant of the people. And people who say in Yoruba, Ijoba, they are talking rubbish. Government is not Ijoba. Government is Isilu. Service to the people. Service to the people. And I wonder why we Africans are like this. Where do you go to in the Western world? You call a governor his excellency, and the president, you call the president of America and the commander in chief. Nobody reverses such like Mr. President. Mr. President. That's all. Go to Canada, the same thing everywhere, Mr. President. But even ordinary chairman, look, they will say executive chairman of Igbawo, the ordinary councillor, say honorable, distinguished senator. What has made you to be distinguished? So, I'm saying that we are not begging them. No, there's no need to beg. Our people say when it is time to go to the toilet, the anus will open.
The Lagos state government had in the white paper also maintained that some recommendations that are contained in the report of the judicial panel that investigated the Lekki Toll Gate massacre was beyond its power, insisting that it was bereft of the powers to sanction security operatives indicted in that. What's your take on this as a legal condition?
No.
Does the state government not have the power to actually indict those security and actually met out their antecedent precedent, judicial precedent?
No. The thing is this: our type of fake federalism that we are practicing, which in reality is actually unitarism, but called federalism, throws up a lot of difficulties like this. You see, in saying that it's outside of their powers to sanction, yes, they are right, because the control of these agencies is not state-based. It's located in the person or the office of the commander-in-chief. For example, the commander-in-chief appoints inspector general of police. And as well is the commander-in-chief of the army and all that kind of a thing. So, and he, as commander-in-chief, is also the president of the country, president of the Federation of Nigeria. Now, the point is this: where you don't have goodwill, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing wrong. These are our recommendations. Are they saying that the panel should have sent the recommendation separately? The one for the state government, the one to the federal government? That's absurd. We'll send it to you. Where you have the goodwill, the state government will pass it over to the federal government and ensure at the best of their political will, where you have the political will to ensure that it is followed up and that justice is done. But you have a situation where these people are collaborators. These are collaborators against the citizens of Nigeria. So all the he's just knowing that. Is the governor just knowing that? Or he doesn't have an attorney general? So when he was composing the panel, he didn't know that. I mean, this gets even absurd by the day, and it's unfortunate.
But Mr. Femi Falano actually contended that state judicial panels actually have unquestionable powers to indict military and police officers. In fact, he argued that the military and police personnel indicted can actually be prosecuted. Let me quote his statement. He said that the military and police personnel indicted for murder and allied offences in Lagos are liable to be prosecuted by the Attorney General of Lagos, as the Attorney General of the Federation lacks the power to prosecute any person accused of committing state offences. Doesn't that?
It makes sense. It makes sense. But I've said something. I said when you lack goodwill. For example, it was, if you read the report, it was both an institutional indictment and individual indictment. Ordinarily, where government works as ought to work, all these are not supposed to even be an argument at all. Oh, did you kill? Well, for example, if military men killed, you find out that generally the police that will effect the arrest will not just go to their formation and begin to arrest people and all that kind of a thing. Of course, there will be a liaison between the commanding officer of that brigade or whatever and the police, and they will hand over their indicted men to the police for prosecution. You understand? That's how it will work ordinarily. But like I said, when you don't have goodwill, these people are collaborators. Are you following me? These people, I'm talking of the so-called federal government and the so-called Lagos state government. They are collaborators, and as they are collaborators, you will now begin to say, "Oh, I cannot do something." First of all, somebody who doesn't agree to a massacre does not agree, and it's even gone. The only one that says somebody died, we do not even know who killed. You can see. So this person is speaking two sides of his mouth. That even the one person we saw, we don't even know who or what killed him. So there's no baby's what. Your recommendations, I will pass it to the federal government. I've not rejected it. What he's saying is that I didn't reject it. But since these people are under the control of or their organs of the federal government, I will refer you to the federal government. Who is deceiving who? The Femi Falana's argument is correct to the extent that murder is a state offense. Murder is a state offense. Treason may more or less be the national offense, but then it's also a state offense. Somebody wants to overthrow the governor of a state by force. It becomes a treason. The man is not interested in overthrowing the federal government, but he's overthrowing Lagos state government or Ogun state government. Of course, that one again becomes a state offense. But what you find out is that levels of government or governance in Nigeria, from the local government to the state government to the federal government in Nigeria, they are never sincere. And that's why this particular Okuobi panel should be celebrated. This panel is the problem of the Lagos state government and the federal government, because it didn't allow them to walk to the answer. It was an aberration. You understand? Like I said, the governor that is now talking about federal and state, he didn't know that before setting up the panel and give them the terms of reference to conduct investigation that must necessarily touch the army and the police. It's a clever by half afterthought.
Also concerned about the fact that they have actually expected much from the Lagos state government. But now the Lagos state government is actually asking for a walk of peace. It's invited people like Shehu Kuti, Shegun Awusoya, Dele Farotimi, and others to join in with work for peace. Most of these individuals have actually rejected those work for peace. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think it was a deceased leader of the Afenifere, who dismissed the Jonathan government that time as a kindergarten presidency. Maybe I think it was Abraham Adisa or somebody who dismissed the presidency as a kindergarten presidency. This infantile, exactly what you have in Lagos State and kindergarten governance. I mean, everybody knows that before you get to B or C, you have to get to A. You understand? You don't put the cart before the horse. When you read the speech, when you listen to the speech, a lot of philosophizing. But ideas, it's true that ideas rule the world. But the ideas that will rule the world must not only be correct, they must be followed by correct action and procedure. Oh, I want to build a state that is of truth, of justice, and of truth of this. But peace is fact, is at the, apart from being elusive, is at the end. One, before you can get peace, you must have truth and you must have justice. You must have truth, you must have justice. Then automatically, peace must come. Automatically. There is, and truth is, you need courage to be able to seek truth and seek for justice. You need courage. Courage is lacking in Lagos State government. The Okuwobi panel had courage. Courage to say the things as they see it, even though it's against the power that set them up. That's courage. The Lagos State government lacks courage. You know, they could not even, by saying there's no massacre, they could not even expound on the issue of widespread violence on citizens. Look at the white paper, look at the speech, the so-called peace walk speech. Very quiet on it, very quiet. This horrible incident that happened, I was even reflecting on this issue. I said, how could a professional body of soldiers level guns at citizens and be firing away up and down, assuming, without even considering, that they are blank bullets? Well, where do you do that? Where do you do that? You mean somebody can even throw in what we call a banger at us like this? A banger, not, you say, a rifle, not one person, two person, and you are armed. What they were doing is that they treated those citizens as enemies of the government and enemies of the state. That is what you do against enemies. And there was no basis, like the report showed. It was an unprovoked attack. Those kids, those children were not armed. They were not committing any act of violence or vandalization. They did not pose a threat. And then you fired at them, you fired at them, you fired at them. Why was it necessary for ambulances to come? Why were ambulances turned back? Why were the hospitals in the neighborhood, 3 kilometers neighborhood? I'm talking of Lekki, I'm talking of Victoria Land, I'm talking of even the Lagos Island General Hospital. Why were they saturated with badly, mortally, sometimes fatally injured people that night? This is what a government cannot come to terms with and accept. I've tried to even make a distinction now. Somebody can say, oh, massacre. Massacre means death, not just death. Called Oxford Dictionary. But I'm now saying that if you are disputing that, what about the undisputed eruption of injuries? At least the people are represented, about 7 are now amputees. There are 2 directly shot in the chest and from the back who are still in pain today. Why they didn't die, we didn't even know. You follow? You just, as if it was just, maybe some people just threw a Christmas cracker and you downplayed it. So you now say you want to then say after, in fact, what is even the necessity, one, for that long speech? Then why was it necessary for the governor to be the one to handle that? Then 3, the modus operandi of the so-called work. I've spoken at least with 2 of the people invited. They said they were not even consulted. Did nobody broach any idea to them? You see, this idea of talking down to, I've said it before, government in Nigeria always think they have monopoly of wisdom. They sit on Mount Olympus of knowledge. They are the ones that knows everything. So what is the basis of the talk? Okay, now that the white paper has come, now that he has made the speech, has it reconciled people? Or has it inflamed passions the more? He said huge deficit of trust. Has it not become huger? because of this, what I would say, indiscreet and poor management of men and affairs, because of lack of courage to accept wrongdoings, lack of sincerity to pursue justice. You now say you want to take a stroll for peace walk. Who is deceiving himself? That guy is going to walk alone.
Yeah, there are also concerns that these actions by the Lagos state government will further embolden the police and other security forces to continue to brutalize these citizens. Is this not a cause for worries?
Well, as a person, I hardly worry about socio-political realities of life. If the head is rotten, the whole fish will be rotten. If you are led by poor leaders, I was listening to one senator yesterday. I think the head of the Senate was now talking, lamenting about how terrorists entered their village and slaughtered 65 Muslim clerics and everything. As he was talking, I was just saying, shut up! Shut up! Why are you people not romancing these bandits, these terrorists? It took your government 4 years to label them terrorists. When Southwest people say we are not going to get infected by all these people, we are going to set up Amotekun security of the region now also has to complement the work. Was that not a regional resistance, opposition? Even the federal attorney general, that by Mr. Malami, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, was he not opposed to it? So you now wake up, you are now lamenting. You are lamenting. And they came, they cut off people's neck, they took them to an abattoir and killed 65 people. Who caused it? This, you see, when you do something, there's going to be a comeback to it. So what Lagos State government is doing, the federal government is doing, they are the real monsters. The military and the police are not the real monsters. The military and the police are the claws and the teeth of the monster. The government itself is monstrous and is the monster against people, using police, military, tax collector, civil servants, anybody against the citizens of Nigeria. So it's quite predictable. But Yoruba people say Asegbe osi. Asegbe means impunity. It can't continue like this. You know, all these government functionaries today, is it Moyo Solo-Onigbanjo, the Attorney General, the governor himself, the lawyers and everybody supporting this evil that happened, they are going to have a date with history. It could be 20 years' time. It could be 10 years' time. I'm not moved. At any rate, I'm comforted with the philosophy that if it doesn't get hot, it's not going to get cold. If it doesn't boil, you know, if it doesn't scatter, you are not going to rebuild. Now, it's going to scatter. You continue oppressing people. You see the truth, you twist it. You created a mechanism. The mechanism backfired against you. That ought to have humbled you. That ought to have sobered you. Yet, you are trying to use what we call boldface in our local parlance. Boldface, that we can bully our way through. We can just go on and do what we are going to do a peace walk. And we are everybody. Who is deceiving who? There used to be a proverb spoken for the talking drum. Dun 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 bàbá mo gbà. Tẹ́nìkan bá ń tàn ọ́ o má mà tanra rẹ̀ bàbá mo gbà. If people are deceiving you, Babajide Sanwoolu, don't deceive yourself. It's a quality advice. All these, somebody has cough. He's now eating pepper dakara. Ataka oranko. when you want to cure cough, it's not by eating pepper or licking peppermint. You see, you to the measure of the injury, to the measure, to the depth of the cure. That's when you're a leader. But when you are doing sandpaper, cosmetics, of course, if the governor of Lagos State, like any governor anywhere, says, "Oh, I want to go for a walk," the court jesters are enough, no? Are enough crowd. The court jesters, commissioners will be obliged to follow him. Party people, city people will be obliged to follow him. But are they the real people? The majority of Lagosians, overwhelmingly, have come to accept as a fact and as a reality that a massacre caused by the military with the complementary forces of the police happened at the Lekki toll gate on 20 October 2020. Panel set up by government, not panel set up by disgruntled civil society people, not panel set up by labor union, not market set up by students, not panel set up by UN, foreign bodies. Panel set up by Lagos State government says massacre happen. You governor now say it's just mere speculation. In fact, the gentleman was just parroting Lai Mohammed. Is that what he was doing? So without no basis, nobody has been persuaded. So the peace talk or the peace work has failed. Let me say, what is the purpose of the peace work? To increase the volume of love, harmony, amity in the state. You can't attain peace and love when you are shying away from the truth, when you are not interested in justice. So it has failed. It has failed. And all these attempts they are doing is only hardening position. Like I said, there's going to be a day of reckoning.
Now, finally, Vice, could you walk us through this and in brief? What's next, especially for the victims of Endsars massacre that happened at Lekki and the places that those ones you are actually representing at this point in time, having heard.
First of all, what is the white paper saying about compensation? Is it part of the things that I've accepted? And what is the implication of accepting it? You are going to pay, if you accept to pay compensation, you are paying compensation, also damnifies you. If you don't pay compensation, it greatly damnifies you, because if you pay compensation to the living, we are asking, you are now saying, if this number of people who are this injured to this level of injuries, you are saying that nobody died. One person that died, gone, we don't know even what, but that person that died, that person you are claiming, wrongly claiming, because that person is not the only person that died, and that is not the only person evidence was given about. Did not die on the 19th, did not die on the 18th, did not die on the 17th, did not die on the 15th, 16th, 14th, 12th, back to when it started. It is only the day military show head with guns. We are talking of sorrow, tears, blood, and loss of lives. So, but probably because he thinks everything that matters is money. That for once I pay the compensation. But you see, how do I put it now? It will continue to cough. He who continues to eat the bad insect, because the mechanism that triggers the cough is there, because you are supposed to abandon that path. So it's a matter of, it's not a matter of I'm paying compensation. If they pay the compensation, like I say, it damnifies them. If they don't pay it, it further damnifies them the more, whichever way it goes, because that is not the real thing. The real thing that people died, that even greater than that, was that citizens of Nigeria were attacked unconstitutionally, unlawfully. They were attacked criminally. The state used criminal methods outside of the constitution quite unnecessary against citizens, leading to massive injuries, leading to plenty deaths, and the state is trying to cover it up. Payment of compensation can now solve that problem. You see, there will be there must be the way we are going. I believe in principle of gradualism. Continue cheating people, continue doing like this, but later you find out that the people they've done this in South Africa. Oyinbo people came to South Africa for the first time 1688. 1688. But when people talk of Mandela victory in 1991, they've forgotten people like Albert Lutuli. That the ANC is not a 10-year-old party. It's been 1909 or something. Later, people like Stevie Biko, they've forgotten about people like that. So eventually, you have to come to reality. So if Lagos State government and the federal government of Nigeria, as presently constituted, will not accept reality, okay, what made them to now say bandits na terrorists? Who begged them? Who begged them? Who begged them? That why can these people be bandits? Who begged? You see, this is sociology. Sociology overrides politics, overrides law. Sociology is life. Sociology is life. In fact, law swim in the ocean of sociology. So governance, I'm governor today. Is he the first governor? Before he was not, was that not somebody? Before that person was that not somebody? Before that person was that not somebody? And in all of this era, all of them used to have a sense of supremacy, of invincibility. Where are they today? Where are they today? Buhari was not the first president. There were years we thought the war will end with Babangida, Maradona, he left. Abacha, terror, he left. Absalamu Wayo, he left. Shonekan Fidihe, he left. You understand? Obasanjo, Baba Yabo, he left. May God bless you, Musa Yar'Adua. Umaru, Shehu, Yar'Adua. Foreman, the best of them all. Short 2 years. He left. Jonathan, corruption is not theft. That's scandalous statement. Whatever he said, he left. And all the probes that happened after him, these are these people are going to be probed to now. These people, Buhari is going to be probed. He may not be the successor. They will be probed. They will be examined. Even at home, this thing happens at home. That if you are a parent today and you are behaving anyhow, all those small kids, you think every kid grows up to judge and evaluate the parents. My father was a very wonderful man. No matter what my mother would say about him, my father was a bad man. My father was a bad man. My mother, that woman, wherever she is now, she will not rest well. Or my mother did very well, I can remove my eyes from my mother. You will judge them. These citizens, forces of history will judge them and sanction them. They can't escape. This one is too horrendous. This is too horrible. You understand? So somebody is talking. In fact, I wish I had not made that statement. Because, in fact, they have gone even to the extent now that I heard that the Attorney General has even gone to television. He's now trying to attack even the panel, making allegations. You see how these people, how petty. Meanwhile, the truth is that they wasted a lot of money trying to bury the truth. They are attacking this particular panel because the panel refused to dance to their tune. That is my conviction. You see, these people are split personalities. On the surface, they sound so decent, so honorable. I mean, so we want them to be independent. We want them to be independent. We didn't interfere. Okay, now you didn't interfere. They are independent, and they did the job, and they are experts in their field. Mr. Sanwoolu is not an expert. He's not a lawyer. He could be very brilliant and have no doubt about that. He's not a lawyer, he's not a judge. 8 people. Out of the 8 people, maybe only one. Maybe only one is not a lawyer. Maybe only one. Even the police officer, the DIG, the Baba, I think probably the oldest person there, or with the, is a lawyer. He's not just a policeman. Now you come somewhere, you assemble 4 people. Only one of them is a lawyer. The attorney general, who is actually a participant. It's an involved party. You now come out and you want to be rubbishing the work of 13 months. Where you send legal representation to, not that maybe they did it behind your back. You brought in your own lawyers, seasoned lawyers for that matter, and on top of it, you are the only party that brought the help, the aid of a forensic expert. The thing works against you. You are now saying there was no massacre and nothing happened. That all they said just speculations, insinuation. The other man said, tales by the moonlight. You said speculation. You see, the truth is already out. It's the consequences of the truth that they will meet if they do not have the courage to retrace their steps and accept the truth.
Vice Ogunlana, thank you so much for your insight.
I'm grateful.